There we go. Hello, ladies
Famous
and
life,
gentlemen.
baby.
Welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Today is season 11, episode 11, and we have a couple veterans of the show today. And fellas, let me gush just for a second. Let me get this out before we start getting into the nitty-gritty and the nerdiness. But obviously, Dave and Joe from the Brothers Landreth are here. Thank you so much for being here. And man, first of all, thank you for your time. Second
Of
of
course.
all, thank you for letting me hear the whole record before it comes out tomorrow. And I will say, this is my favorite Bros record so far. Period.
Hell yeah.
And that's a tall order for me because you guys have really significantly changed my life as a musician. Just in terms of the first time I heard Joe play on with the captain on that one episode you did with him the first time, then getting to know you, taking lessons with you, getting in the slide, then Dave, you coming on the show, us getting nerdy about bass guitar, which is another passion of mine. It's been just so beautiful getting to know you guys and whatnot. But man, this album, and I wrote down, there's a couple reasons I love this record so much. The first one is I feel that there's a genuine excitement that is palpable in each track. I really feel very strongly when I was listening to it, I could hear the joy. Even if it was a melancholy tune, I could hear the joy in the process of capturing the song. And I think that's hard to get across sometimes, the emotion that you guys just convey in music. So am I right there? Was there a lot of excitement out the gate?
Oh yeah. Yeah. This record, it was a new sort of approach for us again. We sort of decided to reinvent the wheel for ourselves a little bit. Especially, since our last record was, for all intents and purposes, a pandemic record. And it had the limitations that came with that. Um, we wanted to capture what was happening for us on the road, and we had put together, by accident, sort of got together the dream team. Roman Clark on drums, Ian Phillips mixing front of house, and we had Murray Pulver out with us for a bunch of it, and we just had this incredible time. And so the MO was really, let's try to capture that as much as we can. So out the gate, it actually was a little bit tougher than we thought. Like, we kind of had to, for me, I had to shift the way that I sort of make records, because a lot of times I'm just sort of doing stuff on my own and making decisions on my own, and so I had to relearn how to be a team player in the studio. Um, but once we kind of got through, I think we cut like three songs and took them back to, we cut three songs at a different studio and then took them back to our studio and started working on them, doing overdubs and stuff. And we kind of finished one tune and listened to it and we're like, we didn't, I don't think we got it.
Mm.
And so we went back to recut that song, and then we thought, well, while we're here, why don't we cut some more? And we wound up recutting everything that we had cut in the first place. And
Really?
then, yeah, and so, but we'd only done maybe three songs, I think, at that point. It was just like the first sort of week-long session. We booked some studio time to kind of dust off the cobwebs, and wound up sort of getting what we thought were keeper takes, and then decided weren't. So we kind of like, we this happened on the last record too, actually, where we had a bit of a false start. But once we kind of figured out, okay, this is what didn't work, this is what we missed, this is how I need to change. Then we just kind of, then we were cooking. And I think if you're hearing any joy on there, there was lots of joy, and we were having a lot of fun playing together and enjoying each other's company and enjoying the process. And yeah, so I'm glad to hear that you could hear that, because that's how it felt.
Same kind of feeling, Dave. Like in terms of when you guys decided to recut those tracks, like everybody was kind of in, with doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think what happened sort of between those two sessions that we really just needed to get into a room together, sit with it, and then everybody sort of had things that they were everybody that was sort of like a part of the core production team. So it was, I mean, me and Joe were there, obviously. Roman and Murray, the four of us were all sitting around listening to the tracks, and we just started like everybody just started opening up about sort of reservations they had and challenges they were facing, and we wound up having a pretty heavy heart to heart. Was an hour or two long, and that really cleared the air for everybody sort of creatively and artistically to be able to go into that next session and then be able to just knock it out of the park. And yeah, we basically tracked the entire record in 5 days,
Mm,
and
man.
with just a minimal overdubs, the least amount of editing and overdubs that we've ever done on a record. I remember when we finished the session and we finally got back, like, you take a break from it, and then a couple days later you sit down to listen to it. And I called our manager. I was like, we're gonna get this thing, we're gonna beat our deadline. He was like, oh yeah, no, that I'll believe it when I see it. There's no way. I was like, we're gonna do it. Like, we'll get you this record before the sort of uh the 11th hour, like we always do. But and we did.
Man.
And I think it was mostly just because we were having fun. It felt easy.
Yeah, that's the best. And it sounds so friggin' good. Okay. So that was my first thought. My second thought is the like rock and roll bros is like, and the funky bros is like my favorite bros. And there's like a bunch of that on this. And man, you guys, there was just so many like really, because I've seen you live and like obviously a couple times. And when you guys get into those moments, that's when it gets my heart pumping and stuff. And there was just some moments on this record that just kind of alluded to that first thing that I was saying in terms of the joy. Because anytime you're getting funky, man, when you capture some good funk on a record, you can't help but smile. So I'm sure when you went back and listened to like, mixes of I'll Drive and stuff, you were probably like, damn, yeah. Like, because there was moments on there where it just felt so good. Like everybody was super locked. So that's number two. That was my reason this record's my favorite. And then Joe, did you play B3 on all this? Like Half of Me, is that you playing B3?
I wish. No, no,
Okay.
no.
Did
That's
you
that's Bonnie's guy. We borrowed Bonnie Raitt's Hammond player, Glenn Pacha, who odd chain of events. Is that the saying? No, whatever. He's actually from Winnipeg, but he left when he was like 18, went to New Orleans and spent a
New
bunch of
York
time down
City and
there. New York City, was everywhere, played with everybody. He's played with like Schofield and like you name
dang.
it. Um, but we connected with him through Bonnie, and we met him backstage somewhere, and he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm from Winnipeg." Or no, he and I were talking back and forth on Instagram, and he was like, "Yeah, this is where I went to high school." It's like, what the fuck? Um,
That's awesome.
so yeah, so we just kind of hit it off with him, and so we brought him in for the record, and yeah, no, I wish that was me playing Hammond, because damn,
Yeah, it's a lot of good
if I
stuff on
was,
there.
yeah, but yeah, he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Yeah. All right. Number three, the ballads I feel like on this record, some way, shape, or form. I don't know why, but for my initial kind of like vibe in terms of like first time listening through this record, the ballads on this feel like more weighted. There's like more like substantial harmony and like emotional evoking harmony, I guess, for lack of a better way of describing it. But I just felt that there was something more sophisticated. And I feel like you guys have grown. And I've always felt like you've been harmonically sophisticated. I don't know what's in the water in Canada. And like, I know you guys are indoors a lot in the winter. So you have all the time in the world to work on harmony on your instrument. But with each record, man, it just is like, keeps getting more and more brilliant and pulls me in to be like, what is that chord change? Like, why did that
yeah.
work? You know what I mean? Like, why the hell did that work against Joe's melody or Dave's melody? So like when I was listening to this, often I was listening with my guitar in my lap, just kind of like figuring out what was going on so I could understand the architecture behind it. So that's my third one. The fourth reason that I love this is Dave, you sing on 4 tracks, man.
Yeah, new lead singer in the band. Look out, Joe. Make a little more
lead,
room at the front of the
lead bass,
stage.
lead vocal.
Well, you know what's funny is like obviously I'm a
Don't sit
huge
in my seat.
you guys both know I'm a huge Wood Brothers fan. But like I only really want to hear Oliver sing. But Dave, you got a great fucking voice, man.
Oh,
Like,
thanks.
and
Oh,
you
Mark, you're
guys
being so sweet. I'm so glad we're talking to you first here before release day. This is perfect. You're pumping us up for when Pitchfork gives us a 0.5
oh, fuck them. They don't know
tomorrow.
what they're talking about.
No, I'm kidding.
But anyway, so those are only 4 reasons that I love this record, and there's way more to like I could go into deeper conversations with you guys about it. But with all that said, like in the last year or so, I know you guys said you recorded it in 5 days, but when you guys write these tunes, like what is the oldest song on this record?
The last one.
Okay.
The
How
last
old
one
is that
was the
song?
first song we wrote, and we started that in January of
25.
2024.
No,
24.
24.
Yeah,
Okay.
we started writing. We started
really?
writing for this in January 24. Yeah,
Dang. Okay.
yeah.
So what's the newest song?
What was the last song added? I can't remember. They were all written kind of like we cut the record.
Oh, Half Moon Eyes.
Ooh.
I think. I think is probably one of the last ones.
But they,
Mm.
they were all written in a fairly sort of truncated
Yeah,
chunk of time. Like,
yeah.
so it was
That's
like,
the first time that's ever happened. Usually, our records are like we're going deep into the archives to try and just get enough songs to make an album.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Joey stuff so much. I think you've had some sort of different paths there, but all the Bros records have definitely been like scrambling to find songs where we started writing for this one deliberately and
Mm-hmm.
we ended up with more songs than we needed. And we're for the first time we're able to kind of cull through the list for our faves.
Mm-hmm. So and then everything on this record was just like you guys writing together, or did you have any other co-writers help out?
we wrote this whole record with Roman.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it
Nice.
was the three of us, and in a lot of tunes were actually were just Dave and Roman. So I was like I'd started parental leave because my second daughter was born, and they just started writing sort of as I was taking some time, and so I joined a little bit later into the writing process. So songs like Dog Ear, Vincent,
Mm.
Strange Deer, Let Me Down Easy. Those were all tunes that started without me, and then I came in and sort of messed with the chord changes and maybe a word here or a word there. But so in terms of the writing, it's a bit of a departure. We've done that on past records where Dave comes in more as an editor. Sort of after the fact, I bring a bunch of tunes to the table, but this time it was kind of the other way around. But there's lots of songs that I wrote on too, but there was just more that I didn't for the
Mm.
first time, which is interesting.
It is interesting, and I feel like what I was getting at there with how old are these songs is like some of the stuff feels like it could have lived on whiskey. So I was like, is this like an old fragment of a tune that Joe had and was like, what do you think about this? I just kind of was a throwaway idea, and then you guys turned it into a like
Ah,
gorgeous thing. You know what I mean?
I'm
And
curious which songs.
Uh, God, dude, look at all the notes I have.
ooh,
I'm not your just casual listener of this record, fellas. Um, I mean, I feel like I'll Drive probably could have been on whiskey. That could have fit
Right.
on that record.
Yeah.
Um, I think Wide Awake and Dreaming probably could have fit on whiskey.
yeah,
Yeah.
that I hear that for sure. I
You
think
know?
if anything,
Totally.
what that really points to is just that this album, in a lot of ways, was us kind of going back to sort of the earliest inspirations for the band, which was just like being a rock and roll band,
Hell yeah.
where like Come Morning was a pandemic record. It was really orchestrated and deliberate and thoughtful, and we really took our time and we played every part individually and thought about piecing them together like puzzle pieces. Where this, like, we went into the studio, we played those songs down over the course of 5 days, and the songs that you hear are the best versions of that, the best
Mm,
takes, and they're almost all full band takes. Very little was like we splashed some stuff over top and we added BGs after, but like in terms of the band performances, you're hearing like a band take,
mm,
which was kind of how Whiskey came together too,
mhm.
Yeah,
you know.
and Let It Lie for that matter. Like those,
Yeah, and Let It Lie.
it's kind of cool. To I think would be interesting to take those two records, Let It Lie and Whiskey, and put them up against this one, and I think you could hear the progression, or maybe regression. I don't know.
No, it feels like this record, like Dog Ear, could have been like, for all I know, if I would have came on like now, feels like it could be the sequel to Let It Lie in a way. Like it does feel like that band kind of just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Like we're just continuing this vibe kind of thing. Um,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think there's a reason everybody loves your first record, and I'm obviously love them all. But dude, this album is so good, guys. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't often get a chance to like sit and listen to a whole album that much anymore, like having a day job and being a dad and a musician at night and all that stuff. But man, sometimes when do you have like favorite artists that put out record and you're like, oh, sweet. And you're like, oh God, I gotta sit down and listen to this whole thing. Kind of think, how am I gonna find the time to do that? But when I did that with this, I had a fucking smile on my face the whole time. The whole time. And
I
Cool.
love it.
I felt so inspired. It's like when you go see a show. If I go see Wayne Krantz and like I come home like, I'm gonna pick up my guitar and see how I can't do this. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
but that's how it felt with this. I'm like, I got to get back in the ring and start writing some songs. You know what I mean? So thank you for that. But so
pleasure.
let's walk through the record really quick, because I wrote a bunch of notes about each song. And opening with Sunrise Sunset, like, first of all, that's one of the tunes where I was like, oh, that little treat there, that little harmony twist right there. But it feels like whimsical, but it's soulful. It feels like Appalachia in a way. It like transports you to another place geographically. Can you tell me a little bit about how you guys tracked that? Because it's the opener, and it's kind of, an orchestral piece in a way.
Yeah, so well, I'll give you the as short a backstory on it as I can. Dave and I have partnered with a friend of ours, and we're working on um, we're working on sort of turning an old church into an art space, and so we've got access to this really beautiful place, and there's a big, huge, like 15,000 square foot sanctuary, but off to the side of the sanctuary is what's called the Lady Chapel. 4,000 square feet. Yeah,
4,000?
whatever.
15 is
Yeah,
pretty
that's.
big. I was like, damn, that's a big ass. But I believed you, Joe. I believed you.
I don't know. My house is 1,500 square feet. The sanctuary is, yeah, it's definitely not double my house, or it's not 10 times my house, but whatever. I'm not
Mhm.
good with numbers unless, anyways, it's big. It's
Sorry.
big.
Sorry.
But
Carry on.
no, that's
Not
okay.
important.
No, no, just feel free to interject and make me look stupid anytime you want. That's fine.
I will. Oh, I
No,
will.
no, yeah, yeah. No, no, I know
The
you will.
bros.
No, no, don't worry. I won't. I will.
Brothers. Um, Off to the side of the big sanctuary is what's called the Lady Chapel, and I walked in there one day, and I just like I spoke a few words, and I thought, this is a you would think the big room is, and the big room is spectacular sounding, but you would think that that would be the thing you're most excited about, and I was the thing I was most excited about doing in that room was playing an acoustic guitar.
Mm,
And so once I'd gotten my old studio space sort of decommissioned, and I'd moved some gear into the old Sunday school room, and of course there's a congregation that still worships there on Sundays, so we have to like we can't stay set up super permanently. Anyway, that's a long story. I set up some gear, and I was just like, I have to make some acoustic demos of these songs for the new record. So I I'm gonna just chuck some mics up in here and see what happens. And so that recording was just me testing out the space, and it was one of those like threw up some microphones. I had some headphones on, and I kind of like you know a tiny amount of like, I think this would be a good place for the stereo pair. I think this would be a good place to sort of fire. Away we go. And I just played through a bunch of the new songs and then took them back into sort of my control room and listened, was like, whoa, this space sounds really good.
Nice.
So that's the story of that recording. Is it was initially just a demo, but we I think one of the themes of this record is that we have grown up a little bit to the point that we kind of we're able to listen to something and go, that's probably finished. Whereas 2 or 3 records ago, we would have listened to something and gone, maybe we should do it as a bossa nova full band with a horn section and see what happens. And then you record it and go, no, that's not right. Maybe we should do it, this way and that way. And so that was one of those instances where we kind of went, I think that recording is pretty good, and I think that performance is pretty good. I think that's the way that that song should be presented. So that's a
Yeah.
kind of long answer. I'll try to
Well,
keep them more brief.
that's okay. I mean, I feel like everything, what's nice about this album, like sonically too, is it feels very forward, but not like, over mastered, like in your face, like there's no dynamics or anything like that. But the clarity and the like, as I like to call it, like the chewiness, like you can hear everything and sitting in its spot. And I listened to this through my speakers upstairs on like my record player stereo, because it's like got Bluetooth stuff. But then I also wore headphones, so it's fun to listen to that stuff just completely encompassing you. And that song in particular, now that you said that and you told me that, now I'm going to go back and do that again in headphones and listen to it to really kind of put myself in that room. That's killer,
Cool.
dude. All right, so everybody's heard "I'll Drive." That's the funky fave. So for that tune, I feel like that's kind of like I put that in the camp of like "Gotta Be You," like those tunes, for your records where you have those funky ditties. So was this song inspired at all by doing like the Little Feat thing? Like, I know you're a huge fan, and like, how did this song come about?
We wrote this one with our friend Jonathan Singleton, who wrote "Made Up Mind," which was the track that Bonnie covered uh, and then went and won a Grammy with. So he's a guy that he's one of the few guys that we kind of routinely go back to for co-writes, outside of Roman. Um, but he's a guy that we always try and make time for, because we just always have so much fun writing songs with him. We came up with that one, and that was the last song that we wrote in a 3-day songwriting trip that we made down to Nashville in January of 25. Yeah, January 25, right before we went into the studio to track the record. And um, we're just like, oh, we'll see what we get, see if we can add a song or two. And then at the very end of it, he was like, hey man, I got this idea for a song. He's got this killer voice, accent. He's an incredible singer too. And he's like, what if I got this song where it's just like, I'll drive. Like, don't worry about nothing. Hop in the car and I'll drive. And we're like, that's a great idea for a song. And then it was like sort of that rapid fire, whatever that thing is. He 5 o'clock Friday kind of stuff, like all that stuff. So it was really
Right.
fun to write. That's a really fun thing to write. It's like putting little puzzle pieces together to make those lines come off the way they do.
Yeah.
Um, and then we got it into the studio. I don't remember what we had for a demo. I don't remember how we ended up sort of doing pre-production for it. Do you, Joe? It just kind of fell together. Like
I
it
think,
kind of.
yeah, I think we just had the board tape from the writing session, or the acoustic memo from the writing session. We did a little bit more pre-pro for this record than we have in the past.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I don't remember now exactly what we did. I know that I remember doing pre-pro for that and Half Moon Eyes, because I just gotten that Universal Audio Dumble pedal, and I was going direct and it sounded so good. And
Nice.
I just was like, I just want to play super long sustained notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
anyway.
this song, I mean, I could be wrong, and this could be blasphemy to fans, but like, I feel like this song is going to become the new "Our Love." Like, it's like that
I
hot.
wouldn't be mad at it. It's so fun to
I would
play.
I would love that.
It's
I know
so
you
fun.
would,
It's such a
dude.
fun song to play, and it's such a good. It's just nice it's nice to have songs like that in the repertoire. Like a lot of our stuff is kind of heavy, and a lot of the songs are like telling these really honest stories, and sometimes it's nice to have a reprieve from that, just to sing and play something that's just fun. you
Yeah.
know
Dude. Trust me. So my band covers Our Love, and because we love it still, and but now I'm like, nope. Now we're gonna start doing this one because this is super funky and it's super fun. So
Yes.
if we ever play it, I'll send you guys a video of it.
Please
Um,
do. I'd love that.
all right. So yeah, half of me. That's why I was asking you about the B3. So because it's very hymnal, like just like that hymn book kind of vibe. But what I loved about it is like it's like a familiar environment musically, but it's still fresh. Still feels new. It's like when people talk about when you're a lyricist and you're writing a cliche, but if you put a spin on the cliche, it makes it new again.
Mm.
Like
Sure.
this felt like that gospel thing that felt familiar that I'm like, oh, I love this. Oh, I really like this because it's like has its own personality in a way. So like how did that song come together?
That was a tune I brought to the table, and I had been messing around with it on actually on the piano, uh, and then yeah, I mean, like the lyrics wound up getting a full rewrite,
Oh
uh,
wow.
which was
Now hold on a second.
fun.
I got to ask you about that. So at what
Mm.
point do you realize that?
I just well, because I was like, I like the melody, I like the harmony, I don't mind the lyric, but I'm not super married to them. And Roman just started like writing frantically in his notebook, and then he was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And then he sang like the first verse, sort
No, it
of,
was the
or one of
chorus.
oh, it was the chorus. He sang the
He
chorus,
sang.
and I was just like, "There it is." And then we sort of put the rest of it together. Um, but yeah, so he really pioneered or championed that tune. In
Okay.
terms of like the harmony, um, the Emma was like Kojic Church meets Disney.
I
It was
can see
like,
that.
yeah, I just was like, give me some like big Disney minor six chords, and yeah, and that's kind of everything else. Everybody just did their thing on that tune, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think I really think like nobody really tried too hard to take anything far away from where it already was, which I think is what makes this record so exciting to me to listen to. Which is new because I really don't often listen to our records, but I still spin this record. Um, and it just feels like it just feels it does feel right, you know. You're never done. You're never done. Obviously, there's things that I'm like, could have sung that better or whatever, but all the choices feel good.
Mm. So Dave, and I forgot to ask you, Dave, like on I'll Drive, what bass were you playing on that? I forgot to ask you that.
I think I played my P bass, my Mulan P bass for pretty much this whole record, and then I played a couple of songs on the Duesenberg Motown Hollow Body. So
Okay.
almost everything on the P bass except for a couple of tracks.
I was curious. It makes complete sense. All right, so let's move on because I know we don't have a lot of time. So Tumbling Wild. Dystopian, this is what I wrote for myself when I was listening to this. Dystopian vampire western in the best way.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cool.
I feel like what you guys do with music, and this is why I love your band so much, and this is like what I would say about probably Paul McCartney and some other people too, but like just how cinematic, and Joe Jackson, like how cinematic you guys write that I can immediately like listen to like 4 bars and write fucking dystopian vampire western in the best way. Like that's what immediately came out stream of consciousness. So like where the hell did that idea come from?
First of all, I love that description, and I'm gonna have to
I
borrow
come to
that.
suck your blood, partner.
Partner. um, yeah, that was one of the early tunes, and that was from Roman and I. That was when Joey was sort of in the midst of his parental leave, and we wrote most of that. And I was heading to his place. He's got this had at the time had a really great project studio in St. Boniface, which is just a part of town here in Winnipeg. And his street has these incredible lilac trees. Actually, I think don't think they're lilac trees. I think they're cherry blossoms. And they're not, and you don't usually see cherry blossoms in Winnipeg. But I mistook them as lilac trees, and they were in full bloom, and they were just stunningly beautiful. And we were just like sitting down and just like, what do you want to do today? I don't know. What do you want to write about? And I was just like, lilacs in bloom. He was like, let's do that. And then we just started. I just started sort of. I don't usually write this way, but he encouraged me to do this, which it's the cool thing about working with other people. They can kind of, a great collaborator will help you out of your comfort zone, you know, gracefully help you out of your comfort zone. And he was just encouraging me to just like, just say shit. Everything you're saying is cool. Just keep saying more shit and let's see what makes sense together. And so a lot of that was like not fully like Jackson Pollock stream of consciousness, you know, it was like um but it was a little less tightly tied to like a story or a specific idea. It was just kind of like painting with words, trying to come up with and through that, some ideas kind of did develop. But and then that really like it's cool that you say that because really that song is more of a mood than it is of like it's like a tone poem rather than like a really strict chapter book that takes you on an adventure. It just sort of like is meant to kind of make you feel something. And when we were recording it, we discovered that it was like you could just fit all of the cowboy tropes into that song. It's just like the more you threw at it, the more it was like, I got room for more. Give me more cowboy stuff.
To the
There's
point
a
where
theme.
there's even like it didn't make the final cut of the record, but I do have like a whip crack and a horse whinny.
Shut up, really?
Oh yeah. I'll see
Oh
if
my
I can
god.
find it. I'll send it to you. But it's like it took like an hour to make, and I like took the horse whip and like panned it like as fast as I could, so it sounded like it was whipping over your head.
Oh,
And
that's
Dave was
dope.
like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing?" It's like you got to throw everything up in the air and see what sticks, buddy.
Yeah, man.
And there
That's
was
amazing.
galloping hooves, even. Yeah.
Oh my god. Very Monty
Yeah.
Python of you. Um
Yes.
oh man. Okay, so let's go to the title track, Dog Ear. So again, more Hammond gospel, lovely, lovely lushness going on in that. And then the bass. Oh my god, dude. Let's talk a little bit about what I felt hit me the most about listening to you play on this, Dave, is you are so good at, and these my favorite bass players do this, and every bass player should do this, is play appropriately for the tune. This song is like a landmark that should be waved and out there to be like, hey, bass players, this is how you play for a song, and this is how you support a song. When you're like coming up with ways on how to support it and not be too busy, or I don't know, not be too melodic, like how do you work on supporting it while also demonstrating restraint?
Wow, what a good question. I mean, so I think for this song, it's worth sort of going through how it came together because I think it kind of tells the story. Is so this is like my favorite song on the record, probably. Um, in terms of performance and just that's the reason it's the title track. Thematically, it kind of ties everything together in my mind. Um, but or one of my favorite songs on the record, anyways. Uh, when we got to this one in the studio, we spent maybe 90 minutes total between sort of pulling up the demo, which was just an acoustic guitar demo, and sort of like make and that's how we do it. Kind of that's a process like when it actually comes time to track. We all the band sits together, Murray's their producer, and we listen to the demo. We all got our sort of, notepads in front of us and we're sketching out chord changes if we need them or just little notes. We're all sort of throwing ideas. Oh, what if we did this? What if we did this? What tempos, whatever. So we sort of make a real rough game plan. And then Joey came up with an idea for a kick drum sound. It's like, what if it was this massive, massive kick drum sound? We have another bass drum in the studio that we can go and grab. And so they spent most of that time working on this one drum sound.
Mm.
Joey, Roman, Ian, Murray, I mean, all of us, but they were really dialed in on it. And they got this epic drum sound everybody's really, really happy with. And then it was like, hey guys, let's go take a crack at it. And we walked into the studio, or we walked in, everybody grabs their places. Joey just, I actually guess Glenn starts, creates this beautiful introduction space, and Joey, and then and we just, what you hear is the first take. That was the
Mm,
whole thing. The only thing that we changed was adding background vocals.
man.
Um, and that's what you hear is what you get. So that was all of us just responding to what Joey was doing. We were just listening to Joe and playing and responding appropriately. And there's some fun moments in there because that wasn't the arrangement that we had talked about, but we
Oh,
were all we were all plugged in, and Joey goes into the last chorus sooner than we had talked about, doesn't tag the vocal, but because everybody is so in it, we fell into it, and the way we got into it is this beautiful moment. It was just like when the last cymbal sort of died out, Joey was like, "So lunch?" And
so did you guys
yeah,
know
so
immediately? Like, or were you like,
oh yeah,
whoops, we didn't do it the way we had arranged it? Or were you just like, nope, screw it. That was great.
oh
I
no,
think that was
there's no
just one of
question.
those, yeah, that was one of those cases where, if we had done that exact same thing 3 or 4 or 5 years earlier, we probably would have taken another 7 passes at the song before picking the first one.
Yeah.
Whereas this time we kind of went, that has everything we need. It
Hmm.
has like this spontaneousness that is really beautiful. Everybody's playing at the absolute top of their game, and uh I ended up having to overdub one of the lines because while we were playing, I bent over to change a setting on a pedal and my vocal disappeared. So I just had to go and like re-sing. So yeah, it's pretty special. But yeah, like I said, it's just one of those things where I think we've done that enough times to know, hey, we're just gonna pick this first one anyway, so let's just go eat.
Yeah.
And
Man.
Yeah.
and you just know, too, like it's beyond just the performance, it's the feeling of being in a moment that deep with a bunch of musicians, and you kind of go, you're lucky to get a moment like that once in your studio career,
Hmm.
like that's the kind of thing, you work so hard and put all the time in, so that maybe if you're lucky you get a moment like that, you get to experience what that feels like. And
Yeah.
we all walked away from it just being like, hey, good job guys, that
Man.
felt great.
That's
Yeah.
that's a band, ladies and gents. Like when you can go in and like get a few people into a room and play music, make music together, and then at the end of it, everyone's like, wow, that's music. That's a band that's working together. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So, Knuckles. All right. First of all, besides Bonnie singing on this, which is huge, I think the song itself, my notes here are like free floating, feels great through the lyric, even though it feels like it's one of those kind of lyrics where it's like, I'm letting my guard down and letting you in kind of thing. And I just felt like when I first heard it, when you guys released like a single a few weeks back, right? Not too long ago. It was only a couple weeks, right? Um,
Month, maybe month, I think
it's a
month.
month, man. Time is flying. I
Tell
feel
me
like
about it.
Halloween was last week, but it felt like instantaneously recognizable as a Brothers Landreth song. Like every element of it, from guitars to bass to drums to voice to whatever to BGVs, like everything felt like it was like the fingerprint, which I think is the coolest thing about what you guys are cultivating. And what I think is great about this record is the evolution of your music and the evolution of your relationship, probably as brothers, as you guys get older, your relationship with music. It all is just evolving to a place where I feel like it's definable that it's your fingerprint. And that, I guess, is what we're all kind of trying to do as musicians, right? It's not to sound like our heroes, but to carry them with us. And I feel like you guys have done that. Like this record is by far like I was just like, damn, like this is what they sound like. This is them. Which I thought this song really kind of showcased that. And to have one of your heroes singing on it, I'm sure is like, what the hell? Like,
Oh yeah.
so Joe, did you ever ask Bonnie how she chose what finger to wear a slide on? I've always wondered.
That's something I have never asked her, and I should. I mean, I'm sure it's probably the same as why I put mine on my fourth finger, and
Mm-hmm.
Ariel wears his on his fourth finger, and Derek Trucks wears his on his third finger. I don't know, but if I get the opportunity to have a hang with her again, I'll ask and I'll let you
Yeah.
know.
Report back.
But
Because
yeah,
Oliver Wood does the same thing. He wears it on his middle finger. And I'm always like, why? I wonder
yeah,
why he
right.
does that, you know? Um,
Dude, have you ever heard of this guy Brett Garsed?
no.
He's like, I mean, Shredder is like almost it's like too he's a
Yeah.
virtuoso on the guitar, and he plays the slide on his index finger and then frets on the other side, and it's wild the stuff that he
What?
does. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and he does all kinds of like angling the slide because you got so much range of motion like toward the body, so he does some really cool stuff.
man. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, so let's move on because we're gonna run out of time, and I don't want to run out of time.
yeah.
Because I could talk about this all day. But let me down easy, Dave, dude. The control that you have in your voice on this song, it's so like delicate. And can you talk to me about when you sang this song and like what was your approach? And because it seems like you have quite a great amount of control over your vocal on this.
Oh, thanks. Um, this song, honestly, this was a hard one for me to get down. It's a song I wrote about early on in our relationship. My wife and I split up for a minute before getting back together, and then everything turns out great. But it was just it's a song about that moment, and so singing it and playing it is really just an exercise in not coming to pieces because it was really like a low point in life for me, for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think, if you're hearing anything there, really, I tried to mean it like I do with any of the songs that we make. I just like when we're playing it, I just try and mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was going for that. Um, and yeah, that's really it. It's just trying to be as genuine and raw about that. I think Joe and Murray are really good at, and Roman for that matter too, just like making like I'm not really comfortable singing in the studio the way these guys are. Like they all they sing a lot more. They sing on other people's projects. Joey's obviously fronting the band. So I think a big part of that is those guys sort of conspiring to try and make me feel cozy enough to be able to sing as well as I can. So there's like, yeah, there's like, yeah, so I'm trying not to cry. And then also hearing the sound of like my band family rallying around me to, you know, help me get through it.
So, Joe, what's your advice for your brother in that moment then? Like, how do you make him feel cozy?
Uh, it really doesn't require a whole lot. I mean, just knowing that he's feeling vulnerable, and saving your feedback, for moments when it's really needed, and otherwise, you know, like I'm at a point where when I'm singing, like if I'm not hearing something, I want somebody to tell me, hey, like this sucks, that sucks. But it's also an incredibly vulnerable thing, and I think you have to like it's not like playing an instrument. Because the instrument is you. So you do have to be fairly delicate. And I don't know. We were listening to Dave sing and just kind of going like he's putting forward the intent of this song, and that's all you need. So I think in this particular case, you just kind of stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Um, but we brought in a cashmere sweater, some scarves for his neck, distilled water, lazy boy for him to sit on,
Incense,
Prima
mood
incense,
donna.
lighting.
y-
Actually, no,
humidifier.
the funny thing is like actually when we cut, so because like Joy mentioned earlier, we're in the process of building this art space, retrofitting this whole church. The studio that we use to do all of our editing and the vocals and the BGs and the little bit of overdubs that we did was literally a construction zone, like torn down to the studs, orange what's that stuff? Orange tarps for the walls to keep the heat in. Like it
Mhm.
was really, really like the least cozy
Very,
place
very
imaginable. Like
mildewy.
Oh
mildewy,
god.
like nails
Yeah.
poking, literally nails poking out. Like I had a number of times where I was like walking by something and got like clipped by a two by
Snagged.
four with a big nail sticking
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
So it's like literally the most uncomfortable thing. So it's all emotional. It's emotional comfort. And just like what Joey said, like singing is a very vulnerable thing. And because I'm insecure about it, because I don't have the experience, it's like I'm entering this very fragile kind of space. And the guys are really good about, yeah, picking when to be like, that's not working, that's not right. Because it's so easy for me to get into my own head about singing, you know. And but
Amen.
it's a journey, right? And I'm getting more and more comfortable with it the more we do it. And more than anything, more than any other instrument, I think like finding my voice as a singer has been one of the most satisfying things. It's really hard. It's really vulnerable, but it's like as I get more and more comfortable with it, I can see that this is like a lifelong thing, the relationship with your singing voice, and it's really fun.
You can tell that you're getting more comfortable with it. And not that I didn't think you were before. It's weird to hear you say this, but like, but it sounds so good. And Joe, at some point, I'm going to come up to Winnipeg. I've talked to Murray. I still talk to Murray every now and again about coming up and doing a song with you guys because I need that too, Dave, because I hate singing in the studio. It's my least favorite thing to do. And every time I go to do it, the drive there, I'm just in my head, just really like, I'm a terrible singer. I can't do this. This is going to be awful. And like, I need to learn from some people like, dude, this is what's going on. Like, you need to do this. Just relax, you know?
Yeah,
I need that. So at some point, I'm coming up so you guys can kick my ass. So
Murray will
Anytime,
kill you with
please do. Would love
kindness.
that. Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. On that topic, I just quickly want to say it's not like Dave, needs all this extra special, treatment. He really doesn't. And so I don't want it to come across like, there was this great labor to really was not like that. Dave was delivering these beautiful, heartfelt vocals like all day long,
totally.
and so it, him saying that he's not as comfortable in the studio really it comes down to like I think it took you a day and a half to sing all your vocals,
Oh,
you know.
wow. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
Well,
Right.
I mean,
it's
it sounds, that's why I said it. I don't believe you that you're not comfortable because it sounds friggin' awesome. Like,
yeah.
it
Yeah.
really does. I was so happy to hear every time the song would start and there's no vocals up front, and all of a sudden Dave would come in. I'd be like, yes. I was like, that's so great.
I'm so glad that's the reaction. Not like,
Well,
oh
because
no,
you know, the first
not
time
another one.
I kind of feel that way when anytime I hear like Chris Wood come in again on the song, I'm like, oh, Oliver, you should have sang this. But hey man, it's just the way
I love
that's
the
the way I
Chris Wood
feel.
stuff.
Um, some of
Bass
it,
player solidarity.
but the first time I heard you sing is when you guys came. This was probably pre-COVID when you guys came and played in Annapolis, and my wife and I and my friend and his wife came. We were sitting up front,
Yeah.
and that was the first time I had heard you sing when you guys got around the mic. And I was like, oh, damn, I didn't know Dave was taking leads. So like when this album came out and I heard this, I was very, very happy. All right. So Wide Awake and Dreaming, that's the one I said could have been, like on Whiskey, or I thought could have been from that era, but it's not. And I think that's even cooler. The thing that I loved about it, and let me get a little bit nerdy with music, is so that classic like flat 7 thing that happens in this tune, you can never go wrong with 1 flat 7 4 progressions. Like that is the most satisfying friggin' thing to play over. Yes, see. But dude,
We coordinated that.
yeah, but that D minor 7 flipped in there instead of the F at that one place is
Girl.
just the smartest shit, because it's like, okay, just take the relative minor and pop it in there. You know what I mean? So
That's my number one. That's my number one go-to. It's like if this chord
Don't
doesn't work,
sleep
what's the
on the
relative
5
minor?
minor.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it is just so it's just satisfying when you hear stuff like that come in, and especially when you have a progression like this that is very familiar, like I was talking about, but yet still fresh because you add something like that to it. What was the process of recording this? Because this sounds like fun, and it's got some vibe.
Yeah, well, that was actually the one tune that we wound up going back to recut because the first version of it we felt like we didn't quite get the sentiment, and then we just overdubbed the living hell out of it, and it was cool to actually like I went back and listened to it recently. It's cool, but um we missed the mark in terms of the intention, I think, of that song. And um, yeah, so I just like everything else, it was just play together, listen to each other, play off each other, pass the energy around,
Yeah.
and and try to tell the story.
Do you still have the original version of that? I kind of would like to hear it, like comparative, like to the new one.
Yeah, I can dig it up.
I won't share it with anybody. I would just love to hear how different it is from the newer version because that's fascinating to me. All right, so let's get to Strange Deer. So I think this feels like almost like it could have been like a Beatles inspired type vibe. I don't know if that's at all accurate. But like here's another nerdy thing. When that E major hits, same kind of thing in that song. When I heard that chord come in, it's like the little things that perk your ears up when you're listening and you're just like, oh, okay. So like in the verses, do you guys, when you're writing, do you go off of instinct and like where you think the melody should go? Do you think modally? Like, do you want to be like Peter Gabriel and like write modally and get weird with stuff or stretch the boundaries of the harmony? Like, how do you guys approach that?
Melodically, honestly, that's something we almost never talk about. The
Hmm.
melodies, like, right? Like, we pretty much don't talk about the melodies. Like they kind of evolve from the demos, I would say. And then when we get into the studio, everything's kind of open to interpretation. And for Joe, I would say that it's like he kind of gets in the booth and he just sings what feels right. And then you'll notice that like the melody, we don't adhere to like a really rigid melody structure usually. It's just kind of what Joey's feeling. And then with this one, it was kind of the same. There's a little when we wrote, this was the first song that we wrote for the record, and I wrote it on the bass guitar, which I never ever do. Maybe it's the only time I've ever written a song, or the first time I've ever written a song on the bass. But I there's like a do 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 do. I was
Mm-hmm.
playing that on the bass and singing it while I was playing it, and Ron was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then the words just started falling out, and then the song kind of took shape from that. But so that was really just sort of playing what my fingers were doing, and it
Maybe
felt good. And then
that's where the Beatles thing comes from. Maybe for me as a listener.
maybe,
So
yeah, and then maybe that's why it pokes out a little bit too, because it's something I would play, not necessarily something I would sing. And then and then actually the version that made the album is a demo that we did for the pre-production, and we were just screwing around, and it was a serious pain in Joey's ass because the sounds were all so loosely captured that like the vocal was problematic and the bass was playing through Joey's what guitar amp?
I can't remember.
oh, you
Some
reamp
brown
something?
face. No, I just
Yeah,
like
and
plugged into the
I
amp
kept
that
being
was in
like,
front of me.
guys, can we please re-record this? Can we please re-record this? And I think we tried twice, but it was
Yeah,
like every time we listened to the original demo, and it was like, God, it's just the intention is there, and the other demos objectively sound better, but they don't tell the story right.
they don't capture the right
Yeah,
feel. Yeah.
and so it's like it's for me, it's a lesson in making sure that I'm always ready to capture something properly because I like things to sound really nice. I'm not like I like lots of things that are lo-fi, but I'm not a big fan of making lo-fi stuff, Like it's the
Yeah.
music that I grew up on, and like I said, I love lots of lo-fi music. But this has happened to me a couple times on records that I made, well, ours and then another record that I was collaborating on where the end of it was like, it's fine. It's like we'll recut it later. And it's like winds up being everybody's favorite performance, and I'm like, shit, man, why I spend a little more time getting that sound together? But it doesn't matter because it pulls you in. And I think what's cool about that recording is it's very intimate,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So
And that even felt like it was like a Hofner vibe on that, Dave. Like it had that.
Joey disappeared on us.
Oh yeah,
oh, sorry,
you're all good.
my
Uh,
but
bad.
yeah, was that the P bass or was that the hollow?
that was the P bass, and I think like it was I don't remember the name of the amp, but it's one of those brown face amps that I love plugging into. It's a super, maybe it's a super
The Fender Super, yeah.
or something. And I think Joey threw an SM7 like 3 feet off the cone in the middle of the room, and everybody was like, "Shh," and it was just playing.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
so it is just very like it's not at all the way we usually approach the bass sound, and so it does kind of stand alone sonically, but it when I listen to the album, I don't think it stands out in a bad way. It just
No.
it feels like kind of a vibey closer. And then our friend Begonia sings on it, and she's
Oh yeah, she
just the
crushed that.
most amazing human being ever.
Yeah, that sounded great. I mean, and it's all like cohesive all the way through the whole record. I feel like there's not one tune on this that's like out of place. And this album feels kind of like how I feel about like In Rainbows. Like if I'm gonna start it, I'm gonna listen to the whole album. You know what I mean? Like because everything feels good the whole way through. So
So, and we almost had another song on there, and it's not that it wasn't a great song. It's a good song. It was a good performance. Everything, but it we just we cut it, and in the end, I'm so glad we did, because I think it would be the one thing that would have stood out. And it was every time we sat down with the record, we had this one track on there. We're just like, just couldn't find the right spot for it in the track listing. And every time we listened to it, it found that we just all found that like our attention would disappear for a moment.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
every
I was
record
full
we've
on
made,
skipping it.
yeah, and every
Like,
record we've made,
anyway.
there's a song, there's one song on each record that we each sort of feel like like
didn't
too
work.
bad that one made the cut, because and but we finally learned our lesson, and we let it go. And in hindsight, that's probably my favorite decision of the whole record, is that we didn't push to have that on there, because it feels right as an 11-track record, not a 12-track record. So
That's great, man. Do you think there will ever be, or do you ever anticipate doing like what Pearl Jam did, like in releasing like a Lost Dogs, where you put out like B-side stuff? Because it can
we
be a
don't have
collage.
enough. I don't think we have
Oh, we have
enough
enough.
B-sides.
We have enough, but they're garbage.
Oh, really? Do you think that we'll
There's
think
some
they're garbage though?
I think you would, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
You
there's some
do?
You might think less of
there's some
us.
tunes in there you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I get it. I get why you never put that out. That's a bad
Yeah.
song."
Oh
This one
man.
song on its own, I imagine we will release it at some point on its own, because standalone, I think it's a totally cool track.
Yeah, put it out in 6 months. It's like,
Yeah, maybe, maybe it'll find a home somewhere.
yeah, that's so cool. And then just really quick before we wrap up, Joe, what amps did you play on this record? I'm sure everybody's gonna want to know what amps and guitars you used on this record.
Yeah, I was most of it is my a little Princeton that I built. I've gone through an amp building phase in the last couple years. So I built a brown face Princeton that I then absolutely stomped on. Uh, and so that's almost all of the dirty sounds on the record is that little Princeton.
Mm.
And then unfortunately I kept stomping on it and it doesn't sound very good anymore. uh, and then the clean sounds are uh, all my two rock signature. And then I think there was a handful of parts that I used the prototype for the new rev amp that I did on,
Okay.
but most of it is that Princeton and the two rock.
Okay, cool. That new rev amp sounds good, man. I'm gonna try one of those because it really does sound like it's meaty and juicy in the best way. It's
It's
not a
great. Yeah,
dystopian
yeah.
vampire western, but it sounds pretty
No.
damn good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So since you guys have already done the lightning round get down, I just wanted to ask you both this, and you cannot use your sibling, but I'll start with you, Dave. If you could build your own like you could either be in the band or you could see a band, like an all-star band, and you could put your all-star band together, meaning you could either play in it with them or just watch them. What would be your all-star band?
Oh God.
And Joe, if you want to go first, you can go first. I'll do it.
My all-star band, like, do I get to pick the members or I have to choose a band that exists?
No, you can pick the members, but you cannot choose your brothers because I don't want you guys to make yourself, feel bad if you don't want the other person to play on your in your all-star band.
Well, I legitimately would pick Dave to play the bass, but
Aw.
if I can't have Dave, Then Pino Palladino.
Okay.
Glenn Patcha on the Hammond organ. Bruce Hornsby on the piano.
Oh, hell yeah.
Uh,
I
Bonnie
just saw
Raitt.
him.
Really?
Yeah,
I love Bruce Hornsby.
Dude, he played at the 930 Club.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a good show.
Small
I
room.
would have
Anyway.
loved to see that.
Anyway, go ahead.
Bonnie Raitt on lead vocals and occasionally on a background vocal when I decide to sing one song.
Okay.
And oh gosh. And Mike Landau on second guitar.
Okay. Did you say drummer? Who's the drummer?
I didn't say a drummer. Hang on. It's in there. Steve Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck
okay.
you stole so many of my musicians. Should have gone first.
He should have gone first.
Well, it's fine if you have overlap. You guys have similar, influences and stuff. That's fine.
Okay, I got Sheila E. on the bass.
Ooh.
Whoa. Okay.
Paul McCartney playing piano
Okay.
at the Balloon Festival. I was gonna put Steve Jordan on the drums, but who's the dude who drums on that great Emmylou Harris record that Lanois produced?
Ooh, I don't know.
Jazz
Do you want me
drummer.
to look it up?
Yeah, do it.
Oh.
I'm
It's
embarrassed.
not Brian Blade, is it?
Brian Blade.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Brian Blade on the drums. And Donny Hathaway singing.
Oh. Okay.
That's it.
Dude,
That's my band.
Ooh, okay.
and everybody gets along.
Yes.
And everybody gets That's an important part.
All right, fellas, let's tell everybody what's going on with the tour real quick so we can get you out of here. So when the dates start, where are you starting? What's happening the rest of this year?
Okay, we leave on Tuesday. We're playing Toronto. Sold out show in McKinley, Texas. Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth. Still tickets available. Let's go. Los Angeles. We come home for a couple of months. We relax. We hang out with our families. In February, we get into an airplane. We go to Europe. We fly. This is me flying with the band.
Okay.
And we do 3 weeks of touring in Europe, in Germany, France, Switzerland, Denmark, and Holland. And then we come home for a little bit, and then we go back to the UK. We play Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the UK.
Heck yeah.
And then we're home. And America, don't sweat. We're working on tour dates. We haven't announced them yet, but we will announce those later this year. And we'll announce those soon. We're going to come play a bunch of US dates and Canadian dates too. And Australia, it's a world tour. It's a world tour. We haven't announced it all yet, but it's coming up.
That's amazing, guys. I mean, that must feel pretty substantial to you guys that you can go that far and people are coming to shows. Like, that's really impressive, dude. I mean,
It's beyond the dream come true.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
Truly.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I mean, you know this. I love you guys so much. You guys are huge influences, and and I've told Joe this a million times, and like you too, Dave, you're part of this, but like you guys completely changed my trajectory of what I was doing at the time when I first heard you guys. And when I look back at it now and I see how much different things are for me in such a healthier way, like in terms of being a musician and a working musician and stuff, like I really have a lot to owe to you. I know I had to do it on my own to make those changes, but like, had it not been for hearing you guys, getting to know you guys and understanding, where you guys were coming from and the road that you've traveled, man, I don't think that I would be where I am today. I wouldn't even been doing this show.
Oh,
so, cool.
So thanks for saying so, Mark. It means a lot, and I'm glad that we've been friends for so long.
I know.
Like,
now that
it's getting close to 10 years, buddy.
Oh, I know. It probably is. I think my first lesson was 2015 with you. Believe it or not. Probably.
Yeah.
It's your 10-year friend anniversary.
Happy friend anniversary. I'm gonna take
Joey What did you get, Mark?
I'm taking Mark to
He- he
Mark
came
to
on
the
my
spa
show.
and a nice dinner.
Well, I hope you guys make it to the East Coast, man. I'd love to see this
We
new
will.
music on the stage, dude. It's gonna be
Man,
so fun.
just
We
gotta
will.
say, like, the band is sounding hot.
I
The
bet.
band is sounding hot.
I bet. I
We are
cannot
excited.
wait, dude. It'll be so fun to see you guys translate this stuff. I mean, the show in DC, that last show when you did the Gear Gab, Joey, that show was, you guys were friggin' crushing it. That was the first time I got to see Murray play like with you guys too.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
so fun to watch too.
He's a bad boy.
Oh God, he's so great. But you guys, please make it, around this way. And thank you so much. And everybody, please go support these guys on the road. There's plenty of merch and great stuff that you can buy off their website to support them and keep them, keep the lights on and keep the gas in the car and keep the plane up in the sky to get them to your city. So please do that. Check out Dog Ear. It's dropping tomorrow on all platforms, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
everywhere. Oh, hey, I just seen that there's all these people that left comments while we were chatting. I didn't see.
It was too deep. We were too deep in the weeds.
Okay, just
yeah.
anything we have to
Sorry,
respond?
friends.
There's a lot.
I see you now. Hi, everybody.
I was too focused on the individual vampire westerns, but fellas, again, as always, thank you for being on the show. I wish you nothing but the best with this record and on the road and everything. And everybody else, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time.
See you there, friends.